Hello, my name is John Gary Steele. I'm the production designer on Outlander, and we're at the Paley Media Center celebrating the artistry of Outlander. I'm going to show you some stuff on the sets and the costumes. So here we go. We're going on a little quick tour. Across the hall here, this is a floor plan of my favorite set of the whole year, actually the whole 2 years. This is the Star Chamber. That's the working floor plan. Drawings next to it. That is a picture of the whole set. That's a dome. It's cast in plaster. The walls and the floors were covered with images from the 16th century. There were etchings of sacred geometry and astronomy and all kinds of mystical, magical things. And then we'll work our way this way. This model is a model of the brothel. These are, the photo behind you is a picture of one of the lady calves or carriages, which hold up the beams. The walls are covered with moldings. This is a very ornate set. In fact, all the Paris sets are very ornate. As compared to the first year, it's way more decadent. That's basically what we're trying to do, is show the decadence of 18th century Paris. This one. This is a apothecary shop model. It's two different models with the same thing. One was sent to Ron and the writing crew, so they could work and look at the models and figure out what they're going to do, what they're writing. Picture behind you is a picture of that set. It was Master Raymond's set, filled with tons of stuff. Gina, the set decorator, who's amazing, was purchasing and renting things forever to fill the spaces, and there's a secret back room which had thousands, I think thousands of skulls, all kinds of stuff. Ron wanted that room to be really dark and mysterious, and the walls were covered with all kinds of symbols of alchemy and all kinds of mystical, magical things. This photo is a daybed photo from the Paris apartment of Jamie and Claire. That was a humongous set. To our right is a model of that set. It's all built on stage. All these sets are on stage in Glasgow, Scotland. The model shows that we built it around a courtyard. I wanted to build the whole set up so that we could use the backdrop, use the court walls as a backdrop from all the windows of the set. So your parlor is here, your foyer staircase there, and that is the bedroom. The bedroom swapped out and became the dining room. Designed it so that, because it's so expensive, designed it so the walls of that room, the panels all popped out, and we took all the furniture and everything away, put in different panels. For the bedroom, it was covered in kind of a plum-colored velvet, and then for the dining room, it's swapped out and it has gray silk damask. And then, of course, the furniture and the chandeliers, everything changes for every set. And the courtyard was used quite a few different times. We bring in carriages with Claire and Jamie. We changed it because underneath the three arches is the entrance to the apothecary. So we completely redressed the set as like a farmer's market kind of court. We brought in a big fountain that we built up that rolled in, and then we had tons of dressing to make it look different. That was the living room. Put hallways all the way around each set so that we would have depth, and we covered all the hallways with tapestries. Year one, we painted a lot of the tapestries, and it was so expensive that year two we did a lot differently. We printed all of them. We got rights from different museums to use their tapestries, and then we would print them on canvas, roll them out, tack them up to the walls. So that's how we got the look of 18th century. Got all the moldings and mirrors and everything else. This photograph and the drawings around it showed the brothel. Concept in this was that it was like a high-end bordello. The prince goes here all the time, so it had to be upscale as can be. What I was trying to do was surround the whole set with a hallway, and through these openings you could see through to the teal blue velvet walls. They're intense colored so that most of our sets are lit really dark, so I wanted that color to pop through. And we have doors scattered all the way around the set, and the prostitutes would be taking them in to the rooms, so we would never really go into the rooms except one time, I think. The rest of the time you could just see the action going on behind the scenes, and while everything else happened in the center of the fireplace, and there was a stage opposite side of that. This is drawings of the day bed. The day bed had mirrored doors so that it looked like just a mirrored panel wall, but then when Jamie and Claire wanted to use it, they'd open it up, crawl inside. This shows how the detail of inside the day bed. Each one of these were blue mirrors. Every other one was a blue mirror, and everything else was gold. The walls were covered in silk just inside there. Gina did a great job with all the fabrics. We decided to go with blues. Looks really good. Pops off all the taupe colored walls and the gold. We used a lot of gold this year. No gold last year because it's Paris and they're everywhere you go. Like one time I walked in, the carpenters were putting up some of the cornice work up high, and it had tons of gold already on it, a first coat of gold. And they said, "Oh my gosh, this looks like Liberace's house." And I said, and I walked up on them and I started laughing. I go, "Guys, have you ever been to Paris? Because this is nothing. This is nothing compared to what it is really like." And they laughed, but they got it. They loved doing it also. What else? We can walk over here. These are all of the Jamie Claire Paris apartment. Shows the fireplace wall with all the pilasters. The staircase, which we had to fight to get because it was so expensive and it's hard to build curves. Carpenters will always say, curves are expensive, couldn't you just make it a straight staircase? And I was like, come on, it's 18th century Paris, we've got to make it curved. It has to be sexy and beautiful. So we ended up with that. The master bedroom, slow down, sorry. Master bedroom for Jamie and Claire. That's the room I was talking about. These panels would pop out. We put in the silk damask. All the furniture changed out, different rugs and lighting, turn into another room. That's the Paris parlor. Paris parlor, same. Paris parlor changed one time, and you'll see a large photograph in the next room to the king's chamber. It was one of his secret bedrooms. And what we had was, we took all the walls, covered the pilasters with different pilasters, and then covered the walls in between the pilasters with copies of Rubens' paintings that are in the Louvre. There's a series of 16 that were commissioned for one of the Medicis, Catherine Medici, I think. And we paid to get the rights to those and printed them on canvas and then put them in our set. Put a different fireplace on the opposite wall of that, changed it to a whole another set. We do that a lot because of cost. It costs so much to go to these locations that are expensive. We do that, go to locations a lot, but sometimes it's better for us to keep it in-house. We have everybody already working on other stages. We turn a set into something else. Each set almost always gets turned into something else. The Paris apartment is now being turned into something right now. What else can we show? More work all the way this way. Now we're approaching Terry, our amazing costume designers department. I'll just point out the one wall. That's the room I was telling you about, the King's Chamber. And Terry will take it away from here.
Oh, no, stay with me.
No.
No, come on. Hi, everybody. I'm going to take you down here to, as we walk, you'll see a bunch of our costumes. Some of you are going to be very, very familiar with them. But I want to point out 3 in particular. There's our famous saffron gown. There's a lot of costumes that Ron Moore only showed you from the waist up. Oh, I shouldn't say that. You'll see things in the show in a kind of detail that's going to be really amazing. But I really wanted to stop at these last 3 costumes because if you look here, you can see the kind of embroidery that our team was able to do. That's all embroidered in-house. You know, we discovered pretty early on that you can't buy 18th century fabric anywhere. So we had to figure out how to make it. So our pretty young team who hasn't done a lot of this before suddenly is behind professional embroidery machines creating this amazing art. This dress here is another amazing piece. This is all hand painted. One of the most interesting things about costume design is when you are working with the kind of fabrics we are and you're spending, you know, $150, $200 per yard for some fabrics. This is fabric that costs $3 a yard. It's just old-fashioned muslin. But we decided to see what we could do by hand painting it. If you come around the back, you'll see some really extraordinary detail. Because it's not just the front of the costumes that are amazing, it's the backs. If you look at the size of that waist, it's quite remarkable. And that's her actual waist. That's not, we didn't corset her into that shape. That's our lovely Louise. But that's the kind of work that we get to do on this show, is to, when you suddenly find the challenge of, oh my gosh, we can't buy it, then you got to figure out how to make it. All sorts of magic happens. And right behind you is the pièce de résistance. This is the costume that, as far as I'm concerned, defines season 2. That is our Christian Dior bar suit. Some of you may know the story, but we wanted to continue the inspiration for Claire as a woman from the 1940s who time travels. And this is the first time that Claire ever gets to make her own clothes, that they're not given to her. And she never would have seen the bar suit, but the idea is that she comes from the same experience in the same time and place as Christian Dior would have in 1945, and that great minds think alike. So it's a sort of a shot across the bow for us that we will be breaking with tradition for Claire Fraser in season 2. And this serves as our inspiration for the rest of the season with her clothes.